what y'all been waiting on, ain't
Damn, this shit is cool.
All my niggas on my side know we ride, bruh. And if you want beef, I'm the wrong one. Every nigga with me keep a pistol, yeah, a chrome gun. So you better run when you see us coming. All my niggas in this bitch like Andre Drummond. We be manning in the paint, we some grown men. And I don't dap niggas up, I don't like friends. All my niggas got my back standing 6'3". All my niggas with me, yeah, we keep a pistol, see. We been in the game for a long time. Me and my niggas, yeah, we be on the grind. Riz Road veteran, y'all know who I'm better than. Haters make my head hurt, now keep me some Excedrin. I would never tell on another man, hell no. So all of y'all niggas that been snitching, motherfuck y'all.
Yo. Welcome to another episode of Real Spill with Dupree. This is my first version of Dupree Rants. And I just been talking about, I don't know if y'all seen my post a couple times. I was posting about why I think assigning criminals to the army is better than sending them to prison. So I'm gonna dive into that, kind of let y'all know where that thought process came from, how it could work, and what I think the benefits of it will come from doing so. This is something I've been thinking to myself about for a long time. Just evaluating, like, okay, why do we have people go sit in prisons when we can have them go to the army? So I just want to kind of, get that off my chest. This is the first version of Dupree's Rants, where I'm gonna take different topics, different things that's on my mind and my chest, and blabber about it. Hopefully y'all can take something from it. Let me know your opinions and your thoughts in the comments. Like, share. And I'm gonna give it a few minutes to see if anybody join before I start. But basically, like I said, this show is about why I think instead of sending criminals to prison, we should send them to the army. And I'm gonna talk about the benefits, the pros. I don't think it's really many cons. Y'all let me know if y'all think there's any cons of that in the comment. But I don't think it would be many cons to sending girls and guys to the army instead of prison. So I'm gonna wait a few minutes. Let's see if we get some people in here. I know it's a Sunday, and I'm gonna share this post real quick, so y'all bear with me. Anyway, how y'all Sunday? For anybody that's on here. All right, well, maybe some people jump on. If not, I'll let y'all catch the YouTube version of it. So basically what I'm coming to y'all today to talk about is why I think assigning criminals to the army versus signing them to prisons. My first thought process behind that is, why do we have people wasting away in prisons doing nothing? Just eating, chilling, AC, heat, TV, commissary, they're getting snacks. And before anybody get crazy, I'm not saying I want to see people suffer. Let's get that clear. I got plenty of people in my family and plenty of people I know close that did time and that's doing time. So this is not about, you trying to hate on the cat making a living in prison. No, I'm not. I'm just saying, why not take those same people and I say get good use out of them, number one, and then kind of create a system to where people are less likely to commit crimes. And what I mean when I say that is, if you got to think about it, if prison, I'm not saying prison is the place to go, and I'm not saying prison is a cool place, because every real person that I know that been in prison has told me it ain't for the weak. It ain't a place to go. Ain't a place you want to be. It's dangerous. You got to fight for your life. If you're a man, you got to fight for your manhood. All that kind of stuff. So I get that, but I also believe that creating an environment and creating a place to where it's not somewhere where somebody want to go. And I'm not saying people want to go to prison. I'm just saying it should be situations where you like, boy, I'm gonna think twice before I pull this trigger. I'm gonna think twice before I rob the store. I'm gonna think twice before I carjack somebody, murder somebody, whatever the case may be, because I don't want to go to the army. Now, we take regular civilians and put them through the army, and the army system, whether it's boot camp, whether it's the living situations, them having to survive on the bare minimum, and stuff like that. I think we could have a situation where we can have a better army. One, I think we can stop taking regular civilians. And I ain't gonna say stop taking, because obviously you still got to have civilians in the army. You still got to have people to operate the technical parts of it, the tanks and helicopters, all that kind of stuff. I'm not saying take prisoners and make them the army. No, not what I'm saying. I still think you need to have the army to run the way the army runs, right? You still need your people, your meds and all that kind of good stuff. All that's still gonna be the army people. What I'm saying is, instead of sitting criminals to prison and let them just sit, chill, and do time, won't you put them in the army and let them do army stuff for the whole, basically when you get arrested for a crime and you're doing a lot of time, you go to the army instead of state federal prisons. And while you're in the army, you're going to do basically army boot camp. So think about that for a second. Can you imagine doing army boot camp in the middle of nowhere, somewhere on the army base, in the woods, in camping, living situations where ain't no prisons, ain't no building, ain't no AC, ain't no central air and heat, or maybe you do give it to them. I'm not saying get out there and torture them, but what I'm saying is if you got to get up 3-4 o'clock in the morning every day and go do obstacles courses and get up and go do drills, basically boot camp. Every day is boot camp. Every day you got a drill sergeant coming in there yelling and screaming, get up, get up, get up. We're finna go run in this rain. We're finna go run in this cold. If it's hot outside, you still gonna have them boots on. You still gonna have that jumpsuit, that army fatigue on. And you're gonna get out here and run. You're gonna get out here and do this jogging. And I think if you do that, it's gonna be less likely. Just my personal opinion. I think you have less likely people wanting to go to jail, because it's like, man, I want to get up at 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning every day and go run in no sun. Ain't no rain, no sleet, no snow, and just make it uncomfortable. And they can still have their TV time, you can still let them have their snacks in their canteen, but you make them work. You make them work the whole entire time. Ain't gonna be no, I'm gonna go sit down and chill for 10 years, 5 years, 25 years, life, or whatever the case may be. No, we're gonna put you to work. And then you take those same people, and that's who you use for the natural disaster cleanups. And when you got hurricanes or storms or anything like that need to be cleaned up, the army gets them and you take them out and you let them clean. You use them to clean up. You know what I'm saying? Free labor instead of taking regular. Now the flip side of that is a lot of regular working citizens, they do go to those cleanups for a lot of money. You make a lot of money. So that's I'm not saying take away from those people who will use those disasters as their income, but you can take those same prisoners and make them do it. Make them clean up the roads all the time and make them clean up areas and just make them work, and I'm not saying they don't work in prison as it is, because I've never been, so I don't know. But I know they have jobs and they have daily jobs. They work in the kitchen. Some of them get trustee and they get to go out and do stuff, and I'm very aware that that's what people already do. But what I'm saying, assign them board to the army, let the army use them how they see. Now, I ain't talking about torturing. I ain't talking about putting them in a situation where they're gonna be mistreated. I'm saying put them in the army, let them train every day, all day, let them drill sergeants come in there at any given time, at any given moment, and say, look, y'all going to run. Hey, look, y'all going to do this. Hey, look, we going in the woods. And then you got the other side of that is just like in regular prisons, to where when you become a trustee, you get to go out, right? You get to go out and work. You get to go out your pod, and then so you can do the same thing. And that's the pro side of my ideas. If you give them to the Army, because we all know right now the way prison system is set up, prison don't rehabilitate nobody. You don't unless you want to now, because they do got program. I heard they got program where you can, you can go to school, you can get education. Guys come out with trades and all that kind of stuff. But on the flip side of that is the inmates that perform, are good inmates. You teach them Army stuff, right? You teach them how to go to war, basically. So you teach them. Most of them already know how to use the gun anyway, but you teach them Army stuff. And then, like you say, if you got think about it, all the guys, all the girls and people around the world that are in prisons, if the Army owned them, then when we go to war, you got a bigger army. You get what I'm saying? Like, you got a bigger army. And obviously, I know some people would say, well, how can you trust a prisoner, a criminal, to give him a gun that they won't turn on the actual Army sergeants and stuff, that drill sergeant, it's a trust factor. It's just like in prison. You know how when you put a guy on kitchen duty and you put a guy on to go off, with the crew, that they won't do the same thing. So it's definitely, like I say, it's not just cut and dry as, okay, you can go take a bunch of criminals and turn them into Army soldiers. But the pro side of it is you put them in class. You teach them about the Army. You teach them how to be a soldier. You teach them how to use the equipment. You teach them how to navigate through the woods. You teach them how to survive. You teach them about other countries and the layouts of other countries. Basically, you teach them how to be soldiers, right? You teach them how to be soldiers. And at the same time, if we ever have to go to war, then you got a bigger army. That's my thing. I feel like you got a bunch of trained, not saying that our Army people are not trained, but instead of having civilians and letting the civilians be the only ones that are taken from their families and they got to go to war. Okay, now when it's time to go to war, the Army got all these people that they can train and they can develop into soldiers. And then, like I say, anybody that get out, this will be a backlash side of it, because now you're kind of teaching criminals how to be lethal. I guess you could say lethal killers in a way if you're teaching them the Army stuff. But at the same time, you ain't got to teach them everything. You ain't got to teach them everything that the Army teaches. You need to basically teach them how to survive, teach them how to load a gun, use a gun, teach them how to be in the woods, teach them how to take cover, and teach them how to, everything, the nuances of being a soldier, right? You don't got to teach them how to do hand-to-hand combat, obviously, because they can use that against you. They can use it when they get out. But most people, they learn that anyway. Most people go to prison and they come out better criminals or more criminal, new criminal skill than they did when they got in anyway. So I don't see how that would be any different, other than teaching them how to use the gun, teach them how to use real lethal weapons, and then they could probably get out and do some real damage. And we have that issue anyway, because we have actual citizens who go to the Army willingly, get all that training, get all that development, get all those skills, and then they get out and they use it for criminal reasons anyway. So I don't really want to hold that against not showing somebody or not using the prisoners to do it, because we got real citizens that go in the Army and get out and they do mass shootings and they do, murders and stuff like that. So, but my point is, one, instead of letting prisoners just sit around and especially the ones who are doing life, especially the ones who are on death row, the ones who are never coming home, they could actually have a purpose. They can actually serve a purpose. Like I said, when you and let them be your foot soldiers, you train them, and you ain't got to teach. Like I said, you ain't got to teach them everything. You still got your regular army people, your regular citizens that are going to do the real, the real army work. Like I say, running your tanks, flying your helicopters, flying your airplanes, and your stealth missions, and your medics, all that kind of stuff. You still have your citizens who can sign up for that. The diet people, the food people. You can even have some of the prisoners do the food stuff, but you still have your army running the way it is. Like, except for you train these prisoners and you develop these prisoners into being your soldiers. And when I say soldiers, I mean the people, like if you ever go to war, those are your front line. Those are the ones that you drop off out the helicopter, and you drop off a helicopter, and when you're ready to infiltrate, you infiltrate with them. That's where I'm at with it. I'm saying you are property of the army when you commit a crime, and if a war happens while you in prison, while you in their custody, you go to war. Ain't no questions asked. Like, it ain't no, well, I don't want to go. And we telling you going, and you ain't got to do nothing. Once you get dropped off that plane, what you gonna do? You gonna say, well, I ain't finna go. What you gonna do when you get dropped off on that plane in a different country with them USA colors on? What you gonna do? You gonna go to war? And I think it's a way for them to give back to society. It's a way to give back to the world. And then you give them. I feel like instead of having the prisoners just sit around and not get nothing and do nothing and just, I'm just in prison. I'm in prison. And I can't, because you got some prisoners who change. You got some people who get in prison and they change and they want to do good. That's the way they could be doing good. That's the way that they can, feel like, okay, if I'm doing life in here, if I'm never going home, and I'm assigned to the army, I can go. I'll be part of the person that go help with the war, so I can be a part of the person that go help with hurricane cleanups. I'm a person that could, like I say, find a way to find some good out of your wrong. And then I think a lot of people who not really, because a lot of these cats that commit crimes, a lot of cats that commit murders, robberies, thefts, rapes, pedophiles, all those kind of people, all of them are, I ain't gonna say the pedophile part. I'm gonna say the murderers and the killers. The murderers and the people who commit killings and stuff, they're not really like that, right? They're not really killers. A lot of people kill because they on drugs, they high, they peer pressured in the moment, they living in the moment. But you put them in a situation like the army, you find out if you really a killer or not. You're either gonna be killed or killed. And the same thing with prison, because prison the same way. If you're in prison, you're gonna be killed or you're gonna kill. Right. So it's the same thing, but I think in a different environment, a different situation, I think it'll help crime. That's just me personally. I could be a little off on that. I think if I knew if I go to prison, I'm going to the army, I'm gonna be assigned to the army, I think some people would just think twice before committing a crime. Right now, if I go to prison, okay, I get to chill. I ain't gonna say chill because prison ain't cool, but I get the, what I'm saying? But if I know I got to go to prison, go to the army for 5 years, or go to the army for 10 years, or go to the army for life, I'm assigned to the property of the army, which means the army can send me over to Afghanistan or Iraq or Russia or anywhere at any given time. That's a whole different ball game. That's a whole different, that's a whole different circumstance and them whole different obligations. Because now, it ain't no, like I say, ain't no guarantees in prison either. Ain't no guarantee that you're gonna survive. Ain't no guarantee that you're gonna make it and do your time and come home. But I think if you give them a little bit more, what can I say? A little bit more challenges. Like I said, if we gotta do who wants to do boot camp for 5 years, 8 years, 10 years, waking up 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning to a drill sergeant yelling and screaming. You got to go out, like I said, you got to go outside and you got to jog in the rain, in the hot sun, in the snow, with them boots on, making them get up, say in prison and make you clean your bed and be organized anyway. So that won't be too much of a difference. And make you wear boots, so that's not a big of a difference. But the only difference is you ain't getting to just sit around. You're going to be working. You're going to be doing something. You're going to be cleaning the forest, clearing forests. You're going to be out picking up trash, whatever state or city you in, you're gonna be out doing something. Ain't gonna be no just sitting around in no AC all day long. Ain't gonna be no just sitting around eating commissary. Ain't gonna be no sitting around and just taking from other people, fighting. And we're gonna be out here. You gotta think about it. It'll cut down on crime in the prisons too, because nobody won't have a bunch of energy and time just to sit around. By the time everybody come from outside, running miles, jogging miles, being in the woods. When you come back, you ain't trying to. What you gonna try? You trying to lay down? You trying to rest? So you ain't gonna have time to go stab up somebody or bother somebody because they ain't bring some commissary you told them to, or whatever the case may be. Y'all get my drift. So what I'm saying is, if we sign these prisoners to the army, let the army handle them, let the army control it, and I just think it'll help crime. I really truly believe it will. Obviously, you got to be some organization, got to be some structure, got to be some rules in place. But I think that'll help. Not only would that help the world, but that also it'll also help. I ain't gonna say the economy because I don't really know. I think economy. I think prisons help the economy in some way. They bringing in money. But like I said, I just think putting them in, sign up to the army. Man, you get somebody 5 years in the army, and he go do them 5 years and come home. He gonna be thinking twice about going back to boot camp. I know when I was growing up, and cats that went to the real boot camp when you was a teen, them boys come home and say, "Boy, they hated that shit. They hated that boot camp shit." I don't know nobody who went to boot camp and like, "Boy, that shit work." Nigga rather be locked up. And they like, "Shit, I'd rather go to the detention center, prison." You know what I'm saying? And go to boot camp. So that's why I'm like, shit, send them to the army. Let the army take control of them. And like I say, you enhance our army. Now our army is even better. Our army is stronger. The army is stronger. You got more soldiers. And then, like I said, if it's ever a war, that's who go first. That's your foot soldiers. That's your front liners. And you got a bunch of them. What y'all think of other countries do when they go to war with people? Let them prisoners out. Man, you want to come over here and attack us? We want to let these prisoners out. Let these prisoners out and let them and see. You kill all them first, or you try to get through them and see if you can before you can try to get to us. But put them in there, train them on how to fight, train them on how to shoot. Train them on how to use like I said, the minimum equipment. Now, I don't know, but I'm not saying let them drive the tanks and fly the airplanes and helicopters and stuff like that. But definitely teach them the basic nuances of being in the army, basic nuances of being a soldier. Mostly, like I say, daily boot camp, 7 days a week. 2-3 times a day if you feel like it. Whenever you feel like it. Just make it make it as miserable as possible, right? So when I say make them as miserable as possible, I'm saying I don't want you to be comfortable. And I'm not saying prison is comfortable, but make it as miserable as possible. Make it to where you can do whatever you need to do without I'm trying to make sure you're still humane, right? I ain't saying starve them. I ain't saying put them out there in the woods and don't feed them and leave them there for weeks and days. No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying make them live the way the army soldiers live. Make them live in barracks, right? Make them live with minimum contact to the world as possible. Make visits minimum. Make regular food and good food. But I'm saying they don't get good food in prison anyway. But I'm saying y'all get my drift. Just make everything as minimum as possible. Make everything hard to obtain as possible, and make them really not want to come back. Who wants to go to the army? Nobody's willing to go to the army. It's only a certain amount of people who's willing to go to the army, right? You got certain people that go through ROTC and that really want to do it and really want to go be a part of the army, really want to fight for their country. But it's a lot of people who don't. And then a lot of them, when you talk to them, boy, the army ain't no joke. That boot camp ain't no joke. Now, once you get through boot camp, it's good. But you ain't, most people, the army ain't no joke. That boot camp ain't no joke. So just think about doing boot camp for 20 years, 15 years, 5 years. And you hearing the story, you know, you being in the woods, like I said, minimum contact with the world, minimum contact with your family and friends. You're gonna think twice before you go back. And like I said, the other side of the pro side of it is, like I said, I think we'll have a more stronger army. If you think about how many people, just think about it for a second. Just think about how many people are in prisons across the United States. That's a lot of people. I don't know how many people are in our army, but I could imagine that there's probably more people in prisons in the United States than there is in our army. So you think about it, all those people that was locked up in prisons was assigned to the army, and the army is training them, the army is developing them, the army is rehabilitating them. Because like I said, it's some good sides to it. When you get in that prison, when you get in that army, and they teaching you, I'm saying teaching. When I say teach, I'm saying not just teaching them strictly about the army stuff, but still teaching them trades, still teaching them how to cook and how to cut hair, and, you know, actually rehabilitating people, actually giving them an opportunity to, when they do get out, they don't have to just go back to crime. And like I said, the other pro to that is when you teaching people stuff, you're teaching them so they don't come back, right? So as they're in assigned to the army, you teach them different things, teach them trade, teach them how to brick mason, teach them how to lay carpet and all that kind of stuff. And then you help them get a job when they get out. You get what I'm saying? Like you help streamline them into a job when they get back. And then also you can have it where they can open and listen to the actual army. You get what I'm saying? So if I got a 5-10 year bid and I'm assigned to the army right now while I'm doing my payback to society, paying my debts to society, right? So I got a 10-year sentence. And so when I go to prison, I'm asking, instead of, I'm gonna say prison, but I mean, if I'm assigned to the army, but I'm signed to the army as a criminal, if you go through the army, go through your criminal sentence to the army, and you in on good terms, you in and you get ranks, and you can get, you know, just like regular prison where you can get accomplishment, you can get achievement, and then you can get out of that and open and listen to the actual army. You know what I'm saying? Where you get paid and just like a citizen. So like I said, I think it's the pros to me outweigh the cons to it, as far as developing people, rehabilitating people, giving our army more soldiers, and then creating a situation where if you get locked up, it's gonna be hard. What I'm saying, I don't want to use the word easy, because I know prison ain't easy. Never been myself, but heard is not the great place to go. With that being said, I think by them being assigned to the army and staying busy and staying locked in and staying the attention on stuff, I think it'll decrease the crimes. You know, we hear about a lot of murders, and hear about a lot of rapes, and we hear about a lot of stuff going on in prisons, a lot of corrupt from the COs and stuff like that. And I'm not saying it wouldn't happen in the army, but I'm saying I think army people, just me, I think army people are more trained and more I think army people will be a better suit to run prison than I would say people who are just going and applying for it. You get what I'm saying? Like a correction officer, like I can go apply to be a correction officer, and I can be on the yard and in cells, in dorms with criminals. I'm not trained. I'm not actually qualified. And that's just my opinion. I feel like if you sign them to the army, where it's already like super structured, you know, it's already super organized, it's already super set up, that they got a system. That's the system, and everybody go through the same system no matter what. So just I mean, if you can keep the prisons if you want, you know, if you want to keep the prison, you want to, but let the military run them. You assign when you get time, and I would say, I guess you could say, let's say because you got to have some kind of snippet. You got to ask some guy like, okay, if you're gonna do prison time, I guess you can keep the jails. I guess you can keep the jails and say, okay, if you're just going to jail, then yeah, you just go to jail. But if you're going to go to prison, anything prison time, 18 months, year and a day, whatever the case may be, you're going to be assigned to the Army. You're no longer state, the Army owns you. If you got 18 months, you're going to the Army for 18 months. You got 2 years, you got 3 years, you got life, you got death row, whatever the case may be. Anything above jail, I think it should go to the Army. You're assigned to the Army. The United States government owns you. And when I say United States government owns you, they can send you wherever. If we got some kind of setup in China, in Afghanistan, Iran, wherever we are, wherever the Army is, and wherever the Army station is set, that's what they can send you there. Right? It's not guaranteed to say, oh, well, I'm from Florida, so I'm going to go to one of these Florida prisons. I'm from Texas, so I'm going to know. If you get signed to the Army, you go where the Army say you go. You live in the barracks, you live in the barracks. You live in the woods, you live in the woods. You know what I'm saying? And then, like I say, you're developing, you're rehabilitating, and you're actually changing people that want to be changed. Because prison can change you too if you want to be changed. If you want to be changed, the prison you can change. Appreciate that, Memphis. You could be changed if you want. You can change in prison if you want to be changed, right? But prison actually is not really set up for you to change. It's just a bunch of people, a bunch of angry people put in one area. It's really developed for us to get in there and kill each other, and they don't want you to get out and become whatever, become a better version of yourself. Because most people don't. Most people, I might go to jail, I might go to prison for drugs, and I might come out a scammer. You know what I'm saying? I might go to prison for a scam and come out a drug dealer. I might go to prison for this and come out a murderer. It's like it's too much time on people's hands, and it's too much going on. Well, not enough going on, I should say, in prison. So I say, why waste away? Why waste them human beings that could be out helping the world, and put the world in a better place? Like I say, we not always at war, right? So it's not saying you're just gonna get a criminal and then send them off and tell them to go fight a war. No, I'm saying that you're just gonna be assigned to the Army. You're owned by the Army, right? So the Army, and I'm talking about the Army. So basically, let's say we're not at war. Okay, if y'all not really understanding where I'm going with this, let's say I get a 5-year prison sentence, right? I'm assigned to the Army. What you do on a daily basis is what the Army do in boot camp. That's every day, all day. If they want to make you do it 3 times a day, they can. If they want to make you do it 4 times a day, you can. If they want to make you do it 5 times a day, they can. So what I'm saying is you're gonna be doing boot camp 5 days a week. 4 days. You're gonna be doing the boot camp 7 days a week, right? So if I'm in boot camp, what time you got? Well, how much energy you gonna have if you get up 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning and go run miles like the Army people do? It's rain, sleet, hail, snow. You out there running, and then by the time you come back, you shower, you eat, and I'm talking about you're gonna go by all the Army rules. Child time, you got a certain amount of time to eat, and if you ain't done with that time up, you get up. I don't give a damn what's still on your plate. I don't care how hungry you is. You get what I'm saying? And then you go back to your dorm, may give you an hour or 2 of TV time, maybe. But even if you don't, you go from PT in the morning, boot camp in the morning, to get you a little food. Maybe I don't even know, maybe an hour to yourself, and then we back outside. Because you got to think about it. I'm gonna make you do boot camp 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning. You know what I'm saying? Get you back, get you some breakfast. You got to feed people. You can't just, we're gonna, hey, about an hour to yourself, and then boom, we outside, we're doing some kind of work. You get what I'm saying? We're doing some kind of work, whether that's in the woods, cleaning up woods, whether we're going somewhere where they say they need forests chopped down, clean up, roadside clean up. I don't care what it is, anything of that nature. If it's hurricane season or storm season, it's a storm somewhere, we're going to clean up the storm. We're going to help people who, if it's flooded, once it's clear, the people start going to try to clean up the flood areas. Stuff like that. That's what you're gonna be doing. So what I'm saying is you ain't gonna be sitting around. Ain't gonna be no sitting around. Ain't gonna be no hanging out. I say you probably get maybe an hour or two a day of your own time, and then except for when it's nights out. Except for when it's lights out. Now lights out. Once it's lights out, then yeah. But for the most part, you working. You on your feet. You out doing something. You know what I'm saying? But also you got, I would say you have some educational time. You have some time where you're teaching people how to change oil, fix on cars, paint, build houses, all that kind of stuff, carpentry. Teach them how to read and write, because a lot of people don't know how to do that. Teach them how to count money, teach them about their credit, teach them about accounting. You still can be spending some time teaching as well. But it's going to be consistent involvement in doing something. And then you got trained military officers watching them and monitoring them. And I just think that'll be a better system to me, and not just making sure the inmates don't want to go commit crimes no more, but also when they get out, that they got something to turn to. And then you got to think about it. That's why I say, you give them an opportunity if they have successfully finish their time, then you get them same people the opportunity to enlist in the army. So you think about the people who don't got nowhere to go, don't got no family, or don't got nothing, you know what I'm saying? Don't got nothing to go home to. You can enlist in the army. So now you got a purpose. So instead of you going home to nothing and getting back into the same situations, the same world, the same people, the same area, the same neighborhood that got you the time in the first place, and now you got an outlet. Now you can say, okay, I got a choice. I'm gonna either go home, be in the streets, be with this gang, be with the homies, sell drugs, rob people, shoot people, whatever the case may be, or I can stay in the army and get paid. Obviously, the army pay you, so now I'm gonna pay you. You get the benefits of the army, so it's like, and then, like I said, and it's also helping America build a stronger army, keep a stronger army, and then because you still got your citizens now. You still got the citizen side of the army, the regular citizen side of the army too. But that's just my thoughts on it. I know I'm ranting. That's why it's called Dupree's Rants, and that's just the way I feel like you can utilize these prisoners and like I said, help the army, one, by putting them in the army, and not like in the army, but owned by the army. And then you can help the people that are going in, because you got to think about, if I go in and all I know is the neighborhood, all I know is drugs, all I know is guns and gangs, and then you teach me something different, then I develop something mentally, because like most of the stuff, most of the criminals that are committing crimes, a lot of them is like mental. It's mental. It's a mental thing, right? So if you got a weak mindset, you're more likely to be susceptible to fall for your environment, fall for your circumstances, and then they don't put drugs in it too, because now you're a weak-minded person with drugs. It's a disaster. So, and then in the army, one of the main things the army teach you is mental strength. You got to be mentally strong to survive the army. So if you can teach somebody mental strength, then hey, ain't no telling what somebody could be or what they could develop into if they mentally strong. So instead of them sitting around in a prison, killing each other, raping each other, fighting all the time, put them in the army. Send them over to a different country. Drop them off over there. Hell, I don't care. I'm not being Pacific. I'm saying I am being Pacific, but I'm not saying just drop them off over there and say, hey, if you can survive 5 years over here in Afghanistan, you come back. Nah, I'm saying teach them how to survive, teach them how to take cover, teach them how to be survivors, because you obviously that's what part of being an Army soldier is you got to survive. You got to survive in all kind of conditions. You got to survive. You may be in the woods for months, laying under the bushes, or hiding behind trees, or living in a hut, or whatever you want to call it. So you teach them that. You teach them how to develop, teach them how to live, and teach them how to be more than just criminals. Right? If you teach them how to be more than just criminals, and then they choose to be criminals, that's something different. But at the least, you put them in a position to where they're giving themselves an opportunity to. I don't like to say right wrong, because you can't right wrong, but at least to turn a wrong into a positive for the future. So for the 5 years, if I'm in boot camp with the Army and I'm learning, I'm developing, I'm training, they're teaching me how to do stuff, and my mental is changing, and then you're thinking a lot more, you're developing a lot more, and you ain't got time to be on no BS. When you're in prison, you just sitting around, you get to think, you think a lot, you think too much, you start realizing who don't care, you start thinking about like, oh, this person don't care, this person let me down, this person ain't putting on my canteen, this person ain't coming to see me, stuff like that, and you're mental. But if you keep a person busy, you keep a person active, you keep a person doing some stuff, they'll be better off. So that's why I think putting them in the Army would be ideal for people, prisoners, and for the Army. Because like I said, how many people in the Army, how many people in prisons, you make our Army even stronger. And then, like I said, if you happen to go to war, they'll develop, they'll train, and them the ones you put on the front line. They're the ones you put out there first. When you go infiltrate somebody one of these countries, they're the ones you put out there. The ones you drop down in a boat and send that boat in. And then the ones you take on the airplane and you drop them off out the helicopter. They're the ones you do that with. And then you have your regular civilian Army people. They still fly the helicopter. They still fly the plane. They still fly the stealth. They're the ones on, making all the communication call. But your foot soldiers are your prisoners. Your foot soldiers are your prisoners that are assigned for breaking the law in whatever state, whatever city they're from. And I guarantee you that if people went and seen war or went and seen combat, it'll change their perspective. Just like going to prison, because prison is war, prison is combat, just on a different level, different scale. But you put some of these people in some of these other countries, matter of fact, some of these other countries' prisons, because we luxury. The United States got a luxury, and that's crazy to say, but when you locked up in the United States, it's luxury. Them prisons that ain't over there in them other countries, they ain't got no central air and heat, and a lot of them ain't got them, 2-3 people cells, and you got a bunch of people piled up in one area, and they ain't, some of them probably ain't got running water, and it's hell in some of them countries. And ain't no telling what they do or what they make them do. You get what I'm saying? So that's why I think putting our prisoners and sign them to the Army, let them do boot camp every day. Let the Army let the Army be in control. Whatever the Army does on a regular basis, whatever boot camp looks like, whatever physical work looks like, that's what you make them do for their sentence. And like I said, if they're successful, they do their time with good behavior, they do their time the right way, you give them the opportunity to enlist in the Army after they do their prison sentence. And that's just me. That's just where that's my thoughts on it. Feel free to comment on this video after you see it. Maybe you watch it after the live. Let me know your thoughts. Am I crazy? Tell me some pros, tell me some cons, but that's just where I'm at with it. I think it'll benefit both the general public, society, and it'll benefit the Army. And which I'm surprised the Army I'm surprised the government never thought about that. I know some people I don't know if y'all seen where they just made that immigration holding jail for illegal immigrants, and it's surrounded by crocodile infested swamps. I like that idea too. And not only do I like that idea, it's just the whole illegal immigrants until they get shipped. I've seen a bunch of people outraging over it and saying it's inhumane and they doing people wrong, and they're not gonna live there. It's just where when they get caught illegally, that's where they're gonna house them at until they can ship them over back to their country. So I don't have a problem with it, and I actually like the idea. As a regular prison, and I like the idea of, hey, maybe all prisons should be. And I'm gonna say prisons. If we're not gonna do the army idea, even if you're gonna do the army idea, right? You put those facilities in areas where it strikes a little fear. You get what I'm saying? Strikes a little fear, because fear always conquers. Everybody gangsters and everybody hardcore till death is real close to you, right? Everybody wants to be something they ain't until death is close. So I think if you put all prisons in, I ain't gonna say all, you can't put all of them in crocodile infested waters, but if you put them in areas where it's like, hey, you either straighten up and act right in here, or only thing next to you is death. And what's prison is pretty much like that in a way. Prison is kind of like that in a way, but I would say I don't even see the point of having them in buildings, right? It costs more money to have lights and AC and heat and pay the COs and all that kind of stuff. Correct. When death around the corner. But I'm saying, instead of having them in buildings and stuff, why don't you put them in the wilderness? Put them in wildernesses and like I say, like army style barracks, army style cabins, and I really don't want to say. I know when you say put them in cabins and put them in stuff in the wilderness and put them in stuff like that, it kind of puts you in the mind frame of slavery. How we was out in the woods, in them cabins. So, but it's not really like that. I'm saying how the army live, right? How the army live. The army don't live in buildings, right? They don't got big buildings with ACs and heats and stuff when they out training and they out going to war, right? So why should our citizens that want to protect the world have to live in lesser comfortable conditions to protect the world than the people who broke the law? You get what I'm saying? So basically, I'm saying, why not have the people who break the law go live in the same conditions? Now, I'm not saying put them with the citizens, right? I'm not saying have a murderer sitting there with somebody 18 fresh out of high school who just signed up on it. No, obviously it's going to be separate. You still will be prisoners and prisoners, what I'm saying, but just give them to the army, assign them to the army, let the army put them where they see fit. You know what I'm saying? So maybe you create certain army bases, as army holding facilities, whatever you want to call it, around the world, right? And you have you put them in close 8 areas where these 4-5 states, everybody go here, and these 4-5 states, everybody go here, and these 4-5 states, everybody go here. I don't know how you're going to do it. Like I said, it's more could be broke down on that, but what I'm saying is assign them to the army. And like the idea with the alligator infested holding thing for immigrants, do the same thing for people who get locked up. Put them in places that they would never want to go again. Who wants to be, you know what I'm saying? I don't know. And like I said, I know it's a fence around it, and you can't just walk out there to the gators. I seen somebody make a comment that they're gonna be feeding the immigrants to the gators because that's what they did to black babies back in slavery and all that kind of stuff. I mean, I think people just exaggerate. But like I said, it's more of a you want to make somebody who does wrong, you want to make them as uncomfortable as possible, right? you want to scare them up as much as possible, because obviously going to prison and potentially being raped and killed ain't scaring enough people, because crimes are still being committed, and it's dumb crimes. And like I said, most of the crimes that are getting committed are dumb crimes because people are on drugs and they out of their mind and nobody's really thinking about what they're doing. And I'm not saying that crime would stop if you was getting assigned to the army, because you still gonna have some people who say, I don't care nothing about that, I don't care nothing about that. I go, yeah. So, and that's another side to it, to where the real unhumane crimes and the real dangerous people, you know what I'm saying? Like if it's somebody that's really dangerous, even if the army, even if they get signed to the army, if somebody is deemed dangerous, even when they sign to the army, guess what you do with them people? You drop them off in another country. That's all you do. I flying right over there. I flying right over to Afghanistan, flying right over to Iraq, flying right over to Russia, flying over to Mexico, and drop them off. You don't belong in the United States. If you're a threat to society, you don't belong in the prison. If you're a threat to society, you don't deserve to be in a prison where taxpayers are paying to take care of you, when you have no regard for human life. You get what I'm saying? Like, why? It's like it's almost like you're getting rewarded. And I don't even like the death penalty. I don't even like lethal injection. I don't even like the idea to kill somebody. And that's the easy way out. No, we ain't gonna kill you. I'm gonna send you over here though. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna send you over here to Mexico. You want to rape a kid? You a pedophile? You want to put you want to rape women? I'm send you over here to Iraq. You get what I'm saying? And I just think that the more fear and the more worse consequences that you can create for somebody, the people start thinking about it. Yes, sir. What's up, bro? Appreciate it, man. It's just something I've been thinking about for the longest. I just feel like it'll make sense. Give them a reason not to want to commit a crime. You get what I'm saying? Like, you think about it. Okay, let's think about it. If the world knew that you could be shipped out of here for a heinous crime, like you shoot up a school, like I said, you do something to a kid, you rape a woman, you try to be a serial killer, anything like that, you up out of here. You ain't finna be in the United States. The taxpayer's gonna pay for you to eat, and taxpayer you gonna soak up AC. Nah, you up out of here, bud. You up out of here. Get you up out of here. Pass a law to where we can, you said you tell Mexico, you tell Iran, we gonna give y'all our criminal. We're gonna give y'all our heinous criminal. Now I ain't just saying, if a nigga's selling drugs or something like that. I'm somebody who's heinous criminal. You a pedophile. Get up out of here. See you. That's what I do. And you think twice. And if you don't think twice, we just keep shipping you off. And then, like I say, and then you got the rehabilitation side of it. I'm not saying a pedophile can't be rehabilitated. I'm just saying I'm not trying to figure it out, because you got to think about it. What are the chances of a pedophile getting out and doing the same thing again, right? Do you really want to take that risk in a situation where you putting kids' safety and the future of the world in the hands of hoping this man or this woman don't get out and do the same thing? Nah. You get caught doing something to a kid, you up out of here. You may rehabilitate, but you're gonna rehabilitate in another country. I guarantee you, people stop thinking about touching kids, kidnapping, like I say, rape. We're gonna get you up out of here. I know they handle them in prison. They rape them, and they turn a lot of men into women and treat them, beat them up. That's. I mean, hey, I'm saying get you up out of this country. You up out of here. See what they think about. See what they do with you over there in Mexico and Iran and Russia. Get you up out of here. And the drug dealers, And like I said, even people who got gun charges, and I'm gonna say even murderers, the ones I would still get the opportunity to go to the army. Like I say, you assigned to the army can do what they want to do with you. That's what I'm saying. Don't go sit up in no jail. Don't sit up. I mean, not jail. I'm saying you don't get to go sit up in prison and chill. And I ain't saying chill as like chilling around the house. I'm saying you're gonna get up every day. You're gonna work. You're gonna get up every day. You're gonna run. You're gonna do some drills. You're gonna do some jumping jacks. You're gonna do some push-ups. You're gonna do some sit-ups. And I know they do that in prison, but I'm talking about on the timing of a drill sergeant. It's the difference. You get what I'm saying? It's the difference when somebody else waking you up at 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning, banging with the live bell, banging on the wall, and get up, and everybody got to get up. Everybody up. You know what I'm saying? And then this how you also do it. You separate them. I mean, not you separate them, but you know how in prison they got pods and they got different areas of the prison, different areas of the jail. So so your group, if anybody in your group is lacking, anybody in your group is not putting forth effort in drills and running or whatever the case may be, everybody in that group, we're gonna stand out here and we're gonna run, and we're gonna stand up here, we're gonna do these sit-ups, and we're gonna stand up here and do these push-ups, and we're gonna start the count over. Every time I catch one of y'all half-assing the drill, half-assing the workout, walking when we jogging, everybody gonna start over. Guess what? Y'all will help each other out. Y'all will find a way to come together. And make anybody who done played real football know how it is. When coach say what, everybody gonna start the drill over. Everybody gonna run. If this X and that X and Y, when the offense win, the defense got to run out the practice, and if the defense win the scrimmage, the offense got to run out the practice. Yeah. Anybody in your platoon slacking off? Anybody in your platoon do some stupid shit? You want to talk about, what if the criminals and you sign them to the army and they buck, or everybody in their platoon get punished? That's how you keep it, nigga. Like you let them police each other. Hey man, but it's just like prison. In prison right now, nigga be telling you nigga chill because nobody don't want to go to lockdown. So when you go to lockdown, everybody mad at you. It's the same thing. It's ways you can make it happen. Boy, if your ass get out of line, we're gonna make everybody run. So y'all don't want to run. I'm talking about 8 o'clock at night, 10 o'clock at night, 12 o'clock at night. Whenever the hell the drill sergeant get up and feel like he want to go jog, he can come in there and get the whole goddamn block. You get what I'm saying? He can come in there and get the whole goddamn block. And one of y'all niggas want to act stupid at child time, or one of y'all niggas want to get in a fight back in the dorm, everybody run. That's all. Ain't no lockdown. No, ain't no lockdown. Ain't no go sit in your cell. Ain't no go to the hole. No, everybody get up. We up out of here. And you gonna run to the drill sergeant and say he tired of running. Or you gonna run into somebody to tell you that they feel like doing. You're gonna go out in the wood and you're gonna chop wood. You can go outside and chop wood until we tell you to stop chopping wood. And I was in TMI back in the day where if you get anybody who went to the real TMI, I ain't talking about AMI. That's luxury compared to TMI, Tallahassee Marine Institute. They made us chop wood. You get in trouble in class, or you what you want to call it? You disrupt the class or be disrespectful to a staff member, they make you outside and chop wood. In the sun, hot sun. And you got to chop the wood, you got to split the wood, and you got to chop it all the way down. And then don't let you be super, super hard-headed. That makes you get the big axe. It was this big, I don't even know what the axe called, but it's a big fat head axe. But it's duller and it's heavier. You get what I'm saying? So if you're a real hard hit, that make you use what we used to call it Big Bertha. You got to get Big Bertha. Man, Big Bertha was hell. When I tell you, I done had to use Big Bertha before, boy. Big Bertha hell. Cause Big Bertha and it's heavy as fuck. When you bring that bitch over, man. So you know what I'm saying is you gotta make them work, right? You gotta put them in a situation where ain't no chilling. You get what I'm saying? Ain't no chilling. We're not chilling. Like I said, maybe, I know I feel like you still need to give them some kind of downtime and some kind of me time, because you obviously you don't want to drive nobody insane. But whatever the structure is for the Army, I don't know how the Army. Anybody that's been in the Army that's watching just can tell me like how much personal time do the Army people get when they're in boot camp? I don't know, but I'm pretty sure they ain't just sitting around 24 hours a day doing what they want to do, watching TV, eating snacks, got the feet up. Hell no. You gonna get out here and do these drills, and that's your punishment when you get out of line. You run through this goddamn obstacle course, son. You run through this goddamn obstacle course. You put your ass out there in the woods. Listen, this may sound crazy, right? But what I would do is I would take somebody out in the woods, and you're gonna make sure that they safe. You ain't gonna just leave them out there to die. But you know how to get to them. They may not know how to get to. They may not know how to get through. You take them in the farthest part of the woods as you can, and then you say, "Find your way back. Find your way back." And that could be some good punishment. I guarantee you, the niggas start sitting around thinking about what the hell they finna do before they do it. I guarantee you that. Then you got what else you got? Like I said, we talked about the cleaning up. We talked about fixing areas, like I say, woods. You know how they do control burns, and they do forest cleanup. You make them do it. Now I ain't saying let them get in the machines and get. I'm saying you got if I got a company and I'm cutting down the trees, or I'm doing the control burns, or I'm picking up this. Now the prisoners come out there with the Army people. The prisoners, you take them out there. You let them do the picking up. You let them do the cleaning up. You take them to the ocean and make them do ocean cleanup, the beach cleanup. Just make them work. I don't care what it is. You can find something for them to do. Whatever it is that people aren't doing. I'm not trying to take jobs away from people. Whatever the most strenuous work that people don't do, that you say, well, dang, you go to the beach and you see this, and then you go to this and you see that, and they just ain't clean that. That's what they do. Whatever it is, I don't care where it's at. Long as it's in the area, obviously, then you spending money to try to fly somebody from, Texas to Florida to clean up. No, I'm not saying that. Obviously, within the area that they're in, where it's maybe say driving distance, traveling distance is not strenuous, or whatever the case may be. And then, like I said, if something go down and it's a war, you got all these trained people. Now you don't send the ones that's not trained, because obviously you don't want to have a non-trained motherfucker out there with a gun that may be on some psychotic shit, get over there and try to kill everybody. So you don't want to do that. But it's just like trustee. It's just like prison. You trustee, you go with the people. You go off the side. You can go off out the prison. You can be out your room. That's the same thing. Once you get them in the Army, you assign them to the Army. You train them how to be soldiers. And the one that could be trusted and trustworthy, that's the ones you send out. Okay, you want to get about it. You want to go do something. You want to be around something other than these woods or these barracks. Show us that we can trust you. Simple as that. Hey, and if you really want to take it to the next level, put anchor braces on all of them. Put anchor braces on all of them, and make it where you can press a button and shock them. You know what I'm saying? It can whatever the case may be. Like, it's so many different things you can do to make it work. But that's just my rant. That's Dupree's rant. I just think signing people to an Army instead of prison not only will benefit the person, benefit humanity, but it also benefit the Army, because we would have a huge Army if everybody in prisons were in the Army. I think we could accomplish more as a world. Like I say, daily, lively, worldly cleanup, disaster cleanups, just anything in general, any kind of hard labor, what I could say, bullshit labor that nobody else don't want to do, you make them do it. And I say that, like I say, prisons already do highway pickup, side of the road pickup. They don't do it enough. So I'm saying, whatever the case may be, don't let them sit in prison. Don't let them chill. Sign them to the Army. Let the Army do what they want to do with them. And then any heinous crimes, I added this in because I didn't have this in before I started the live. Any heinous crimes, you create something where it's legal for you to ship them up out of here. And I ain't saying one at a time. I'm saying it'll be like a certain time a month, right? You wait till you get a certain amount of whatever, however they want to do it to make it where we ain't wasting money, right? But you say, hey, you get a certain amount of criminals, 20, 30, 100, whatever the case may be, and you take their ass over there and drop them off. Tell them good fucking luck. You want to shoot up a goddamn school, you want to do some kind of mass shooting, or you want to do a crime against a child, or you want to do a crime against a woman in the form of rape, get your ass up out of this country. Send them up out of here. Drop their ass off and one of them messed up countries. Like I say, Mexico, drop them off over where the Mexican gangs at. Drop them off over there in Iraq. Drop them off over there in Russia. Hell, Africa. Any damn where it's gonna be, you're gonna think twice about it. Most likely, you're probably not going to survive. Is what I'm saying. And I guarantee people think twice about doing it. Like I said, I'm against the death penalty as far as killing somebody and just let them sit in the cell till you go shoot them. I mean, not shoot them, but until you give them the injection, the lethal injection. Nah, don't do that. Make them live through their poor decision. We're gonna show you that America, we ain't tolerating it. We ain't tolerating no pedophile. We ain't tolerating rapists, attacking women, and even raping men, because men get raped too. But anything like that, hey man, get you up out of here. You won't rehabilitate in the United States. I can tell you that much. You won't get you up out of here. But other than that, man, that's my Dupree's rant for the day. I'm gonna try to bring Dupree's rant every Sunday where I come up with the topic and I just rant about it. Y'all make sure y'all let me know what y'all think. Appreciate Memphis and my boy D-Bear jumping in and dropping a couple comments. I appreciate y'all. Everybody that don't see the actual live, make sure you can rewatch it anytime. And then I'm gonna always create a YouTube link, so y'all see me share the YouTube link. Feel free to, when you see the live or if you see the YouTube link, make some comments. Let me know, am I crazy? Am I tripping? If you agree, what are some of the ideas you would have that you think will make it work? If you disagree, let me know why you think you disagree. But if you, like I said, just to sum it up, basically I'm saying, I think instead of locking people up in prisons, that sign them to the Army would be more beneficial to get more out of that human being, and enhance our Army. So it's like two sides to that. And like I said, it's just giving them something to keep them occupied, give them something to not want to go back, make them work. That's my thought process behind it. Y'all let me know in the comments what y'all think. Other than that, I'm out. Stay classy, Tallahassee. And remember, I love each and every one of y'all, and there's absolutely nothing y'all can do about it. Long live Pops. Peace.
Yeah. This what y'all been waiting on, ain't it?
This shit exclusive.
All my niggas on my side know we ride, bruh. And if you want beef, I'm the wrong one. Every nigga with me keep a pistol, yeah, a chrome gun. So you better run when you see us coming. All my niggas in this bitch like Andre Drummond. We be manning in the paint, we some grown men. And I don't dap niggas up, I don't like friends. All my niggas got my back standing 6'3". All my niggas with me, yeah, we keep a pistol, see. We been in the game for a long time. Me and my niggas, yeah, we be on the grind. Riz Road veteran. Y'all know who I'm better than. Haters make my head hurt, now keep me some Excedrin. I would never tell on another man, hell no. So all of y'all niggas that been snitching, motherfuck y'all.